We would like to present our paper, The Unforeseen Blackout and Cyber Risk Management for Business Continuity. This example has become extremely relevant, even though we didn't expect so much reactions for this work. We did this research earlier this year, and some of the people said to us, well, this is such an extreme example. How often does such an extreme blackout occur in cybersecurity? It was only that a couple of weeks later, before we finished this paper, the CrowdStrike event came out, and it illustrated an unforeseen blackout by a major tech company, showing massive results and disruption of discontinuity, and the problem of business continuity with cyber risks became more prevalent. We did this work together with our students and with our colleagues, and we really are excited to see how our students could work it out. This is the scenario that we worked out and on which we did a variety of simulations, as well as a variety of what-if analysis. The what-if analysis is crucial in risk assessment. You can compare several characteristics of a context of a situation and see what the potential impact would be on the other factors in other states. The scenario that we included was the following steps. A wide-scale blackout occurred. Then failure in essential utilities appeared. Then failure of countermeasures occurred. Performance of control was greatly influenced, and there was an attempt for continuous improvement. The wide-scale blackout involved a city where the tech company is headquartered undergoing a wide-scale blackout, and the result was due to old infrastructure and severe weather events. The failure of essential utilities involved a blackout directly impacting the tech company due to the electricity supply, internet services, telecommunication services, and water supply all being disrupted. Then the failure of countermeasures involved a tech company believing that they had robust preparedness. There was a false consensus on the robustness and preparation plans for such a crisis. However, the solutions failed to manage the effects of the blackout, and the result of this false consensus appeared when the going was tough. Next in the scenario was the performance and control. Post-crisis, the tech company undergoes a thorough review of their business continuity and risk management plans. And then finally, the continuous improvement resulted in that the tech company realizes the importance of strengthening their resilience against systematic failure. The importance of sufficient backups was here exemplified. Hence, the emergence for more resilience combat was needed for such crises. In our work, we adopted the Act, Plan, Do, Check business continuity model. This is a well-known model where acting, planning, and doing and checking is a continuous cycle going from left to right, and continuous improvement results by continually checking the plan and doing what is planned and acting upon it. In this way, we use this business continuity management process, and we adopted that, connected that to the network-oriented modeling. Network-oriented modeling is a well-known approach wherein using network systems approaches, modeling is occurring of the temporal causal pattern which is evolving through over time. We use the MATLAB program from Jan Treu, who developed this, particularly for predicting and seeing the events developing over a chain of situations. The strength lies in that adaptation on several levels is possible. And in this way, we link business continuity and resilience through this network-oriented modeling approach. Here we see the network modeling approach applied to our situation. You see three levels of representation. First, a base layer, wherein the events are scaled out, the events of the wide-scale blackout, working out like a gradual scenario. And then we see the adaptive layer, what can be done to prevent this or react on this. And we see the third layer, the investment plan layer, how that can be approached and how that can be improved. For timing of the solution and regulation nodes, the timing of activation solutions and the activation regulation is critical. The tech company should aim to recover their operational capacity as soon as possible after the blackout. Failure to do so will create additional risks. For example, failure to re-establish internet supply could result in a potential data breach by cyber criminals. And in this representation, you see the temporal aspects, the duration of the blackout, the timing of the solution and the regulation nodes, and also the causal aspects, the strength of regulation, the strength of the solutions, as well as the strength of the investments. In our first simulation, we simulated the total disruption in level. You see here the disruption of regulation increasing over all the levels. In several steps, the disruption increased till the complete blackout effect was demonstrated. In this simulation, we also did trials results of the regulation levels. Also here you see that when the regulation levels are increased, also the result will be increasing over the several levels. In the first simulation, we also simulated the solution levels, the extent at which, if action were taken, what would the effect be. And you see here also, gradually, when the solution levels are entered, improvement occurs in the first simulation. We did a variety of simulations, but this is only to demonstrate the effectiveness of the temporal causal network model, applying it to resilience for business continuity. Very important in such analysis are the what-if analysis. The what-if analysis is an essential part of the risk assessment and the risk analysis. You can see if you change the characteristics of the context and assess the what-if scenarios according to it, you can see what the impact is of a change in one factor on the rest of the remaining states. For example, here you see if factor 1 is the capacity of investing, factor 2 is the capacity to track the disruptions, factor 3 is activation required for the regulation. And we change that with different options and probabilities of occurring characteristics in a situation. And here you see the first results of the what-if analysis for the situation where the capacity to invest is low, the capacity to track disruption is low, and the activation requirement for regulation is high. You see that the overall result predicted using the network-oriented modeling approach and applying that to this business continuity model, the overall result is simply bad. And here you see the results of the what-if analysis, where the characteristics of the set of the analysis is high for capacity to invest, high for capacity to track disruptions, and low for activation requirement for regulation, then the overall result from this analysis using the network-oriented modeling approach and applying it to the business continuity model, the overall result will be good. We'd like to share you some final thoughts and some reflections on our work. It clearly shows that the network-oriented modeling approach is highly applicable for computational analysis of cyber risk management situations. In particularly, business continuity is part of the risk management of cybersecurity. The important cycle which is often used, plan, do, check, act, can be applied and we can see what potential effects can be if changes are made based on the what-if analysis. It demonstrated validity for this approach not only for using it on potential future scenarios of imagining the future states and seeing what can happen, but also it shows the way for further work, for example through the use of Monte Carlo experiments and other ways of applying these statistical approaches to the risk assessment. In addition to this kind of simulation, it also paves the way for new ways of data collection. Of course, one aspect in cybersecurity is that we need sufficient data to make predictions for the future. That is the next step that we will make. Also in our future work, we will combine this with our data collection approaches. Thank you very much for your attention.